Hello everybody and welcome to VFR. Today we are here on the ground in Boston on the ramp doing our pre-flight. Today we're going to look at why you should fly a pretty cool plane that I picked up recently, the Cessna 414 Chancellor from FlySimWare. So today we're prepping for a flight from Boston Logan here at the Cape Air area of Boston Logan, right by the JetBlue terminal, up to Bar Harbor, Maine. And this is a fun flight that airplanes similar to the Cessna 414, namely the Cessna 404, which is actually what Cape Air uses. But it's airplanes of similar size, configuration, and capability are workhorses in these kinds of flights, from larger international airports to smaller regional airports like Bar Harbor. Bar Harbor, of course, we've been there on the channel before, but that is the airport closest to Acadia National Park up in Maine. So it's about an hour flight for us today. The Cessna 414 first flew 1968. So this is a pretty vintage airplane. They produced them from 1968 to 1985. Over 1,000 Cessna 414s were built. This particular model is a 414A Chancellor, which was one of the later variants. So about this airplane, obviously you've got two twin engines. Here, those are Continental TSIO 520J 6-cylinder engines. We've got little winglets on the sides. That's a later addition. Other variants had aux fuel tanks and stuff like that. Tricycle landing gear with a rear kind of clamshell cabin in the back. We have seats for up to 6 people in this configuration. You might even be able to squeeze a couple more in. Plus bags, all the bags that they want. Now the first thing you're probably thinking, seeing 414, certainly what I thought, is I have the Cessna 310R, another twin Cessna. You'd still call yourself a twin Cessna on the radio. And the 414 is basically a larger version of the 310R. That's a little simplistic. But, you know, from my perspective, I thought, do I really need another twin Cessna? Is this going to become a twin Cessna channel? But I will say that I do think the 414 gives you a different experience just because it is bigger and more capable. It leans more to the King Air side of GA, whereas the 310R feels less like a piston bizjet and more like more like a sports car kind of airplane, a family car. This airplane, though, again, there are plenty of rich and famous people who have 414s, fly them around all over. You're a very capable airplane. You can go very far, and you can carry everything you want, so you're not as weight restricted as you are with the 310. We'll talk more about that when we get up in the air. So hopping into the cockpit, the panel is noticeably wider, of course, than your, again, nearest close comparison, the Cessna 310. But you do have some similarities. You've got these switch banks down here on the left kind of knee side of the pilot. That's where basically all your anti-ice, your avionics, your battery, your start system is all kind of down here. We do have a standard 6-pack in front of us, as well as some different... one of the fun things about this plane and this model by FlySimWare is you get a slightly different autopilot system than we normally see in the airplane, not just the stock one. So we do have a different mode selector panel that works with the GNS 530. There's another autopilot unit, a different autopilot unit that works slightly differently when you plug in the GNS or the PMS GTN 750s into this airplane, which you can do, but that's a separate thing done at the livery level and not actually at the tablet level. And so for our route today, it's going to be fairly straightforward. We're going to depart Boston. We're going to probably be on a departure, but we'll see what they give us. And then we will depart out to the north towards the Kennebuck VOR, make that right-hand turn, and then go down to go up to Bar Harbor. We're going to climb to 16,000 feet today for our cruise, so we'll cruise up there and then get on down 16,000. This airplane is capable up to flight level 310, 31,000 feet. It is pressurized. We do have cabin air that we can control. But so we can cruise higher, but we're going to cruise at 16,000 for today.
Boston Logan Airport native information whiskey. 1654 Zulu. Wind 100 at 14. Visibility 10. Ceiling 25,000 broken. Temperature 27. 2.11. Altimeter 2986. Approaches are being conducted to parallel runways.
Southwest 2239, runway 9er, land runway, traffic on a 2-mile final for the crossing runway.
Runway 9er for Southwest 2229.
Okay, 402, Boston approach, hello, planes on request. American 9846, at Goshi, clear LS on a full right approach, maintain 210 knots or greater. 210 knots or greater, and at Goshi, clear for the Alice from next 4, right American 9846.
Boston approach, every good day. JetBlue 1012, flightable 175, change band 2 and runway 4 right.
JetBlue 1012, Boston approach, hello. Boston is whiskey is current to
Alright, so
Boston.
we're waiting on our clearance. We're going to get set up, though.
Expect ILS 4 right approach.
Expect 4 right and we have whiskey, JetBlue 1012.
We're going to make our cowl flaps are
Southwest
closed.
2229, runway 9er, cleared for takeoff.
Make sure full rich RPM, full forward. We have the radios. We got Boston approach online. We are on VATSIM today. These are the fun kind of flights to fly on VATSIM. We can set up magnetos on.
416, welcome to Boston. Join on a trade trade.
So, like other add-ons that you can get for the sim, the 414 has a tablet, an EFB tablet, that we use to deal with equipment. So you have all the chocks and all the external stuff. Doors, your nose doors, all your cargo doors, your wing lockers, everything like that. You can open up maintenance stuff too. There's a cool thing where you can pull the engine doors off and see with the engine underneath. You also have your engine start states. All that's good. They also have a weather set up here. You can see the cabin and everything like that. Your relative winds. And then here's where you load everything. So today we've got all 6 seats loaded up, as well as bags, and colored. Tells you where in the airplane it's going to be. Ready to copy, Care 402.
Care 402, clear to the Bar Harbor Airport, Logan 4 departure, radar vectors Kennebunk, direct. Maintain 3000, expect 15,000, 10 minutes after departure, squawk 5301.
All right, we're cleared Bar Harbor, Logan 4, Kennebuck. Then direct, climb maintain 3000 on departure, expecting 15,000, 10 after, squawk 5301, Care 402.
Care 402, read bag is correct, advise ready to taxi, expect runway 4 left.
So finishing this up, we're basically pretty heavily loaded today. We're close to the aft limit, but not over. And we have about half tank. Should be plenty to get us up to Bar Harbor, about an hour flight, about 200 miles. We do need to squawk. So coming over to our transponder, you get, and that's one of the cool things about this plane is all these things are a little bit non-standard. So we need to go 5, 3, 3, 0, 2. So it's a small thing. It's really not anything huge, but just the fact that there's kind of these different avionics packages in here makes it a little bit more unique from some other planes that use more default Asobo Sim stuff. So we're squawking 5301. We got to punch in our route, which is just going to be radar vectors to Kennebuck. So I'll do that, and then we will set up and get ready for taxi. So engine start. If you nice thing about this plane though is there is some commonality. So if you've flown the 310, you should feel pretty at home with the with what's happening in the 414. We're going to put aux pumps to low. We're going to prime the right engine once everything's ready. Cracking both throttles open just a little bit. Magnetos are on. Fuel has been set. Area is more or less clear. We got some junk in front of us, but can't really move it.
Boston Tower, good afternoon. American 9846.
So I just prime. And then we're going to keep our eye on the engine instruments right in front of us.
Clear land, American 9846.
take a minute, but it should spin up. I also like to open the window because one of the big nice things about this one is the sounds. The sounds are very nice in this airplane. Let's bring that back to idle. Prime the left engine. And hear it come to life. So I'm going to set up the altitude pre-selector to 3,000 feet here, and we'll click arm just to be ready. Now, one thing to note about the autopilot, if you're setting up in this plane, this isn't a button that turns it on. You actually have to bind the altitude, the autopilot button to something. So I can't remember which one I have it bound to, but I'll confirm that. But you do have to bind that to some kind of hardware button, and you can do that in the sim just with the master autopilot toggle. Last thing before we get ready to go, fuel totalizer. We're gonna press enter, and that'll bring up the various things we can do. This is going to tell us how much fuel we're burning, how much fuel we've used, and has some other functions in there. So it's a pretty cool unit. Again, there's a bunch of smaller features in here that are just a kind of unique touch that I think add a lot to the overall package.
Cool. Care 402, Boston Tower, hello.
Boston Tower, Care 402, shorter Alpha, ready to taxi.
Care 402, runway 4 left, taxi via Charlie, Alpha, and Kilo.
Charlie, Alpha, and Kilo to runway 4, Care 402.
Okay, 9846, welcome to Boston. Cross runway 4 left.
Alright, so we're short of one of the 4s. We're going to make sure that everything else is set up. So boost pumps are on low. We do want to turn on pitot heat. So that's surface de-ice. Pitot heat's down here. All of your anti-ice is going to be down on this panel. We should need it to stay pretty warm. But we'll go from there. Runway heading for the most part, and then we'll get radar vectors.
Flight runway heading, runway 4 left, clear for takeoff. The wind 10014.
Runway heading, runway 4 left, clear for takeoff, Care 402. Alright, so rolling out on the runway, we're basically just going to advance the throttles to about 40 inches manifold pressure. Just short of the red line. Little crosswind. We can use flaps if we need to, 1 notch. But I am not today. Airspeed's alive. We're up through 60 knots. There's 80 knots.
American 9846, cross runway 33 left at November, and then continue taxi November and Alpha to the gate.
Bit of wind, 100 knots.
33 left at November Alpha to the gate, American 9846.
We'll go flying. This thing can be a handful in the crosswinds. Something to keep in mind. Positive rate gear up.
Boston Tower, JetBlue 1012, 5 mile final full right.
Boston Departure, Care 402, climbing through 1,500.
Care 402, Boston Departure, the contact, climb and maintain 12,000. Care 402, connect Boston Center, 134.7, have a good day.
34.7 for Care 402, see. Alright, so we're well on our way. You can kind of see the coast of Maine coming up now. We've got about 20 minutes left on our flight, so we'll probably expect to be descending soon. Now, if you want to fly this plane, things you should know. It's not going to behave the same way as the 310 coming down to land. This is much, I find much easier to land, much more forgiving, much more like traditional other airplanes in the sim. Again, I can't speak for how realistic that is, and all the flight dynamic stuff firsthand, but you can definitely, you got more power in final, and the landing gear definitely make it feel a little bit more forgiving, but it is tricky, especially in crosswinds, so keep an eye on that when you're landing. My other tip would just be practice with the autopilots. Make sure that you understand how all this stuff kind of works. Because you have some unique stuff that you don't normally interface with. A lot of the times we can say, well, the autopilot's the same as it is in all other airplanes. But in this case, it really isn't. So that's something that you can keep an eye on, something that you can learn. It's good practice to do. Other than that, once you get it up in the air, you keep paying attention. You can make good speed. It's very capable. As long as you're following your weight and balance on your EFB, you shouldn't have any problems. All right, so we're going to plan on the RNAV for runway 4 here. Wind is 020 at 11 knots. It's pretty straightforward. We're basically going to come in here to whammy, initial approach fix. Whammy at about 3,000 and then descend from there. So we'll fly the RNAV. It'll be a little more manual than ILS, but no ILS going, except going the other way, so we could circle. But we'll do that, runway 4, and then we'll vacate right from there. Down to 1,000 per care, 402.
Delta 2806.
Skywalker saying, let me make sure I didn't misread, because possible.
Let's do
yeah, Skywalker saying from 30 minutes ago, wind 020, not 200. So 020, we're right.
25, resume normal speed.
So we'll set this up to be down at 1,000. Start pulling power.
So it's 225, resume normal speed. Resume normal speed, 625.
And we'll just take it manually for the moment.
Okay, 402, do you want vector to final or one of the initial approach fixes?
We can take it from whammy, Care 402.
Okay, 402 sounds good. Just stay in your present course for now and descend and maintain 4,000.
All right, present course for now, descend and maintain 4,000, Care 402.
Cross CDOC at flight level 110 and the altimeter 2988 for Delta 2806.
Okay, 402, cross Miami at or above 2,900, cleared straight in on nav runway 4 approach.
All right, cross Miami at or above 2,900, clear straight in RNAV runway 4 approach, carried out 402.
Finnair 15, radar contact 5 miles northeast of
a little bumpy. Hopefully we have our
November,
seatbelt signs on.
Maintain flight level 380.
Maintain flight level 380, signal 16 heavy.
India 191 Boston Center, hello, squawk 4714.
Alright, so our final course is going to be 044.
Sharmach 8, my Mike, leaving my airspace. Moncton Center is closed. Unicom from here.
We got the field in sight down there.
Sharmach 8, Mike, thanks for the service. Have a good afternoon.
Got the runway.
You 2, Care 402, report after cancellation in the air or on the ground this frequency. Change to advisory, frequency approved.
Over to advisory Care 402. Alright, so Hancock Bar Harbor Airport is untowered. So we're on Unicom for the moment. We'll state our intentions just like we would at any other untowered airport. Coming in, and then we'll call them back. Because we're a scheduled air carrier, we have to maintain an IFR flight plan, so I can't cancel now. Bar Harbor traffic. Care 402, Twin Cessna. We're on final to land runway 4, Bar Harbor. Turning the power back. Speeds in this airplane, gear extension is, I believe, 177. So if we can get below 177 knots, we can put the gear out. The first notch of flaps, I believe, is also in that ballpark. And then lower flaps are going to be in the yellow arc, more or less. So that's 180. Let's bleed a little more speed. Just help us get some drag out because we're coming in fairly hot. Acadia National Park is off to your right, in case you're interested. You've got to cross a bridge here to get to the island that it's on, but it's a beautiful, beautiful national park if you haven't been. Definitely worth flying in and around, and going if you can. We want to be 2,000 feet at a 5 mile final. So we'll just hold here. Put in our first notch of flaps. Props full forward. We're basically at sea level, so we'll bring mixture full rich. Feet on the rudder, because it's pretty bumpy coming in. Another commonality with the 310 is that we're going to be kind of looking for the blue line. You see the blue line on your airspeed. That's what we're going to be looking at for our approach. Generally, it's around 112 knots in this airplane, and then we'll bring it down below 100. I find around 90 knots is a little sweet spot for final approach. Bar Harbor traffic, Care 402, short final to land, runway 4, full stop, Bar Harbor. So everything's looking pretty good now. We're going to go ahead and bring out that last notch of flaps. Let the speed keep coming down. Try and get to that blue line. And then we're just managing vertical speed. As long as we don't get a big turbulence bump, we should be okay. So right around the blue arc now. We'll let it come below a little bit as we get onto short final here. I've been hand flying this for the last little bit since we took the autopilot off to start descending, and it is very pleasant to hand fly. When there's not a ton of turbulence. There's the marker. We're coming down now. A little bumpy. Bring power back and just bleed off the rest of that speed and just hold it off the runway. And put it down now. And there you have it. Welcome to Bar Harbor Airport. We'll take the next right and get out of the way. Bar Harbor traffic, Care 402, clear runway 4, Bar Harbor. Boston Center, Care 402, cancel IFR on the ground, Bar Harbor.
Care 402, Boston Center, for cancellation receipt. Have a good day.
You too.
Good afternoon, Boston Center, Finnair 14 Heavy.
Bar Harbor traffic, Care 402, taxiing to the hangars via Hotel Crossing 17. All right, welcome to Bar Harbor, everybody. That was a good, fun flight, about an hour, and there's a lot of flights like that, especially if you want to fly something like Cape Air or whatever, you know, whatever you cook up. It's a good kind of entry to the world of commercial flying on VATSIM. And but even if you just want to fly it as your own private twin, you absolutely can. Very capable airplane, lots of fun, lots of cool quirks, and kind of a unique panel with a lot of unique functionality. I think that brings something different to the sim. So maybe you're like me, you had a 310 and you're like, do I need another twin Cessna? I think it does provide a different experience. So definitely worth checking out. Thank you all for coming along today. If you have any questions, comments, things that you want to see, other planes to try out, drop them in the comment section below. And yeah, we stream this plane sometimes, so stick around if you subscribe and see if we'll see if we can work this into some of the live streams too, usually on VATSIM. So thanks for coming along. Hope you'll have great flights. Take it easy.